Alrighty, what do we got? Oh no, the FLSUN. Oh, I had so much great hopes for this thing. Hey everybody, Steve here from The Varied Life. And today we're going to talk about this here. Great hardware, but the software needs help. That integration of coming together, that synergy of you complete me, doesn't seem to be completing as much as what we were initially led to believe. That is so good. Anyway, today I want to talk about 3D printing and FDM printers, specifically Delta printers with the FLSUN. And the FLSUN is a Delta printer, came on the scene. I wouldn't say it's a newer company. They've had a few other iterations of their Delta printers, and they've made some claims. They're definitely faster. I would say, based off of videos and the information and things that I've seen, it is probably one of the faster machines on the market today. Now, with the Delta printer, you have these 3 arms. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and we'll take a look at what we see here. So this is the FLSUN S1. It is a contained system. It is huge, huge, huge system. Awesomely built like a tank. And it's a speedmaster and performance monster. I'm not so sure, considering some of the videos that I have watched. So with that being said, it makes some claims. For example, max speed of 1200 millimeters per second. Again, we've talked about top speed in previous videos, talking about FDM printers and resin printers, and it's like the top speed of a Lamborghini. Will you do that every day? Will that be your daily driver? Absolutely not. If you're printing out models or miniatures or things that you're going to sell on a side gig, if you're making parts and selling those on Etsy or eBay or whatever, excuse me, at local fairs, you're not going to be printing consistently at 1200 millimeters per second. When we look at the Bambu X1C, they claim that it can get up to 600 millimeters per second. But in reality, what I've seen across the board is pretty much you're going to cut that in half, and that's going to be kind of what you're going to be printing at. So the Bambu Lab prints at about, 250, 300-ish, somewhere within that range, 200 to 300. And people are getting good quality. They're getting, and that's kind of the important thing. If you're just doing speed benchies and you're trying to push the thing to the limit to get a little boat that printed out quick in 8 minutes, then yeah, the FLSUN looks like it is a huge contender in that market. But again, going back to this, we're not going to see, you're not going to see consistent speeds of 1200 millimeters per second. So that's kind of a caveat to that. Max acceleration is 40,000 millimeters per second squared. Max flow of 110 millimeters squared per second. There are some problems with this as well, and we're going to talk about this. A build volume of 320 by 430, which is, it's a cylindrical shape that goes up and it kind of peaks at the top. At least that's what we're led to believe. However, in reality, we're seeing some problems with some of these claims. Again, you can say the max speed is this, but in reality, if you're printing stuff on a normal basis and you're not doing speed trials, you're not going to get anywhere near these records. AI intelligence, okay, whatever. High quality printing, that can be questionable, because again, you're going to have that balance of speed and quality. And if you want more quality, you're going to have to cut down on speed, because there is that point of where you're going to get good quality with a decent speed. But when you go higher in speed, your quality is going to suffer. And then it's just going to keep doing this until you get a failure. The FLSUN slicer, multi-filament printing, that kind of gives the impression that maybe this thing will print. It just means it'll print multiple items, multiple materials, multiple colors, but not at the same time. So having a multi-filament printing, kind of, I think they could have been a little bit clearer, but it does print in multiple filaments and materials. Speed master, faster than fast. Again, we talked about this. It does put out some good prints. CPAP, this is one thing that has been consistent, is that yes, you're pushing 40,000 RPMs on this CPAP fan, and it is loud. It is insanely loud. And people have recorded it and showed it, and they've made like baffles to put on the top of the FLSUN S1, and it quiets it down a little bit, but is probably the loudest 3D printer out there right now. It can go the fastest, but to cool that filament, you're going to need a lot of airflow, and that CPAP is noisy. So if you had a shop, if this was in your garage and you could let it run all night, yeah, absolutely no problem. If you're somebody like me, or somebody who has a house, I own an apartment and have it in a spare bedroom, there's people that say that even though they have like a 3 or 4 bedroom house, this printer, the S1, is on the far side of the house and they have their master bedroom on the other side, and it's printing, and the CPAP is just kind of going full blast. You can hear it across the house, and so it is definitely loud. So for somebody like me who, even though I own the apartment, I have people above me and people below me, yeah, that probably wouldn't be considerate because of the constant noise, especially if you're going to do a long print that's going to be a ton of hours. It's just not conducive to neighborly activities. Somebody's going to be really pissed off, especially at the noise. And the noise level, just like a number of people have pointed out, the noise on this thing is huge. And so while there is a baffle that you can print on here that lowers the noise, it's still louder than the Bambu X1C. We go through structured binocular structured light system. Okay, so it's got a camera and whatever. AI detection, that's kind of the norm. Automatic leveling, that's kind of there. Multi-consumable filament printing, has a nozzle temperature, has the hotbed temperature as we see here, but it has a chamber temperature up to 50 degrees Celsius. Now, this is something else that a lot of people pointed out. This is not a heated chamber. Now, I was very surprised at this because the information, when you read this, chamber temperature up to 50 Celsius, that implies to me, especially when you have this picture that shows kind of like these heater-like elements, the orange that seems to indicate to me that that is like heat. Orange, heat, sun, orange. See where I'm going with this? But in actuality, the chamber heats up to 50 degrees Celsius only because of the heat bed temperature. So in other words, your build plate that is on the bottom, that's going to be heated, and so the ambient heat radiating off of that build plate is contained within the printer itself. So there is no active heating chamber element in this, and I think that needs to be indicated. It's just kind of like fuzzy math here. It's almost Common Core math. Intelligent heating zone, which is good. People have recommended that. Time-lapse photography, upgrade, remote monitoring, all of that is good. But what do we get down to when we see the build volume is it claims to be 320 by 430. And which is a great size. I mean, actually, when you look at the build plate of a Bambu X1C, which is 256 cubed, versus this, you're looking, even though it's in a round shape, that is still a really good build area. But people have pointed out that this build area is not exactly real. In other words, it's kind of like the top speed. The top speed of your car is going to be here, but you're going to be limited by what you do in reality, and that's what comes with this build plate, this build volume. Now, the rest of the stuff, the full metal frame, the extruder, all of this stuff, the closed motor types, being able to print all this stuff, the fan, the speed, the flow rate, the power consumption, 1,300 watts at 220, 600 watts at 110, that's kind of important. All of these other things are coming into play, but the problem is we're seeing some questionable things with the FLSUN S1. And I wanted to bring this out because like I said, I almost pulled the trigger on this to the point where I was like, you know what, this has got some amazing stats, and it's like I knew it wouldn't run at 1200 all the time, but even if you just drop that in half by 600, that would be an awesome machine because it would clearly beat a daily driver speed of the Bambu X1C. So, I almost pulled the trigger on this, and we're looking at it's on sale, or it's not on sale. The retail price now is $14.99, so $1,500. It has an enclosed filament dryer, no no AMS system like Elegoo's coming out with, or Creality has their CFS, or Bambu and their AMS, and some other companies have their own multi-spool or multi-filament systems. You're pretty much just regulated to one. And I think on the FLSUN S1, it actually has a hole in the back so that you could feed filament in that way as well. But you're not going to have multi-filament, replacement. It has a runout sensor, which is good. It has stopping features, so if there's power loss, it can resume printing and all that stuff. But even that has some problems. And what I wanted to go is take a look at, for those of you who don't know, this guy here, Clough, Clough-H42. Let's take a look at this. This guy here, Clough would be Clough-H42, but throw an L in there, Clough 42. I hope I'm saying his name right. This guy ends up doing some really good videos, and I'm really impressed with what he does because he does a lot of testing. And with that, it ends up that his testing on the FLSUN, they sent him one, and he basically told him, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. They wanted to see his script before he released the video, and he's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Which is very commendable. In other words, he does have an affiliate link with FLSUN, so if you buy an FLSUN, he's upfront about that. But he's run across some issues, and in this video is exactly what it is, an in-depth review. So when we take a look at this here, watch the video. I've watched it a few times, and he brings out some very interesting information. And basically what ends up happening is that he has found that while the FLSUN S1 is fast, he has also found out that there are problems on the software side of the house. So the hardware is great. FLSUN has built some tanks in the past with their V400, obviously with the S1, and I would really like to see the T1, but it kind of bothers me because their software is lacking. And even in the past, their software side of the house has been lacking to marry up with the hardware side to make a full, great system. And in other words, we're talking about, G-code, we're talking about the programming, and how all this thing works. It's kind of it uses Clipper. It has profiles for certain materials, but those profiles aren't, you're going to spend a lot of time tinkering, at least according to this guy here, of trying to dial in. And so dialing in, even though you use their profiles that FLSUN has provided, you're going to do a lot of tweaking. And that's going to be very problematic, especially in the day and age where we're so used to seeing companies ramping up profiles like Bambu. And I'm not a Bambu fanboy, but they have worked, and Prusa is kind of the same way. Prusa has developed profiles for materials and filaments that work. They're dimensionally accurate. They're plug and play. You put the filament in, you print your part, and you're good to go with minimal amount of tweaking to your system. Doesn't seem to be the case with the FLSUN in his experience. And it's interesting because his experience, he does more, I would say, unbiased testing than a lot of other YouTubers that have got the FLSUN to do a review video. Oh, look, we printed out a Benchy in 8 minutes. Okay, great. But, he's actually tested some of the claims like the speed. How fast can you go? And he actually found some discrepancies with the S1 in that, the 1200 millimeters per second, that's their claim, on a certain test model, the little racetrack little thing. But it doesn't, so it was told to do that, but somehow he got into the code and found out that it's not exactly what is happening. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. Also with the profiles, there was a problem with the profiles where he ended up, printing things, and the what it looks like on the prints. Let's see if we can show some. That's where was it? Yeah, he showed the problems. You'll need to tune it. You have the Z height has some problems and trying to set that, and where he actually had to go into the code and stuff like that. So not something that would a new user who is not used to doing this, and it just seemed very problematic. I'm trying to find that. He showed some of the quality and the difference between dimensional accuracy, for the Bambu versus the FLSUN S1, and there are some problems, and where basically between the S1 versus the Bambu X1C, he would just throw the file into the Bambu and boom, it prints and it has good quality and so on and so forth. Versus the S1 where the print quality isn't as good, there's a lot of imperfections and so on and so forth. It's kind of problematic in some areas. And so what his recommendation is that, well, who is this machine good for? And basically it comes down, he can't tell you. It depends on what you want to do. If you're into speed and doing all that stuff and you like tweaking, then the FLSUN, and you love Delta printers, this could be the machine for you for $1,500. But if you're the type of person that wants a plug and play type system like the Bambu X1C, you plug it in, 15 minutes, boom, you're up and printing and using good quality profiles for PLA and other materials, yeah, you might not want to get the S1, which coming into, what we end up seeing, some of these claims are going to be problematic. So, for example, on the build area, I'm glad I came back to this. It says it's 320 by 320 by 430. That's not exactly true because, let's see if we can get back to where, the picture of the build area. And there it is. So on this thing here, this huge print that he has here, he's talking about the build area, and it's 320 by 320 by 430, which sounds pretty impressive. But if you'll notice at this very top here, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. No, I just can't. Oh, I know what I can do, though. Hold on, momentito. But what I can do is blow this up like this. So in this right here, what we see, it's 320, as a cylinder, and you're not going to get the full size of the build plate because, you're going to have a little bit of easement, I guess you could say, on the build plate itself. But as it goes up, you're going to kind of peak out at the sides here where, you're pretty much, that's all you're left with. So we see this flat area across and then that little tiny cone in the middle. You're going to get about 385 total. And then it kind of peaks up, but you're limited. So is it really 430? Well, technically at the top of the peak of that cone on this huge orange thing that he printed out, yes, it's 430, but it's not like it's, you see what I'm saying? It's not a realistic view of what you would be using this for as a daily driver. So that's kind of problematic with that. And, we can see that, we've got a little bit of easement there on the side there, but still it uses up most of it, but you're going to have a little bit 320 by 320. And he said, realistically, if you're going to be printing things, probably the maximum height that he would go would be 385. And then after that, anything higher than that, you're going to have problems because just of how a Delta printer is built and how it works and how much travel you have on the arms with this system. If it was taller, then yes, you could get a higher build area. But this one, it kind of goes up goes up to 385, and then after that, and then you get that kind of the cone at the top thing, and that's kind of how you're limited. So really, when we're talking about the FLSUN, is it really that large of a build area, and is it really something that you would use would you really get 430? No, if you're doing the Eiffel Tower, then yeah, you could end up having that peak in the center, and you could probably get up to 430 at the very peak. But other than something like that, yeah, you're not going to get that as a daily driver. So yeah, my whole idea of looking at this and saying, well, I'm going to wait until we see what happens with some reviews, because there's always stuff that changes. And yeah, it can just be kind of problematic when we're talking about what is advertised versus what is reality and what you're going to end up doing with said machine. So that's what we got going on. And the interesting thing is that he also tested the dimensional accuracy of his prints. And as far as, the X, Y, and Z, the left, front, back, left, right, whatever, and height, the Z, that's what all the great 3D printer people say. It's the Z, it's kind of holding their pinky up. And when we talk about the Z, it's kind of a thing you do, I guess. So I'll call it the Z. The dimensional accuracy for height is good, but the dimensional accuracy between the X and the Y are off. And he showed some interesting information and some tests that he did of showing how, like when he printed a part in different orientations, so he had one part on the build plate like this, and then another one like this, and then they were supposed to be married together as a case and fit together. They did not fit together. He could force it and and he had to make some adjustments. But that's not something that the average person would do, was go into the code of the machine. As a newbie, I would be totally lost. You just see this green screen like the Matrix and all this information, and we'll just change this clickety clickety clack, and he's able to adjust. But even then, he still wasn't able to get the correct dimensional accuracy between the X and the Y, and that can be very problematic. So I've seen some other videos, and especially some people talking about the V400 and the past Delta machines from FLSUN, and saying that their hardware is awesome. It is built like a tank. It's speed. It can do it. The problem comes when we're looking at the software and the integration of the software. Consider Bambu Labs or even Prusa. Prusa and Bambu Labs have great integration between their software and their hardware. So there's that synergy that comes together, and you can print things out to have dimensional accuracy. You don't have these problems of saying, okay, well, if I print this, I got to make sure it's orientated this way because there's a difference between the X and the Y, and then that kind of limits on how much you can print on a build plate, which is problematic if you are a person that is printing out parts, you're doing a side gig, maybe you're printing out terrain or whatever it is, and you need that dimensional accuracy. So when you have something like a Prusa or Bambu, the X1C, or even a P1S or P1P, you can just fill up that build plate. It doesn't matter the orientation. You're going to get that dimensionally accurate parts printed out. Whereas the FLSUN, they're going to have some problems. So yeah, there seems to be a lot of work that needs to be done, especially with the FLSUN on the software side of the house. And again, like that guy said, he said, it depends. If you like tinkering, then this you'll love this fast machine if that's what your thing is speed. And FLSUN needs to do a lot of work on their profiles. They need to do a lot of work on the software. He recommended that they just ditch their proprietary ripoff of whatever open source slicer that they use. And I think it was him, and there was another guy that I was watching, I forget his name, that just said, hey, just forget the proprietary slicer stuff. This guy actually ended up saying that it's just a waste of money. Just use Orca and then just build good profiles for filament materials. And get the software side of the house nailed down pat, like Bambu or Prusa does with their machines, and you will have a great product. But as it stands now, yeah, and like I said in previous videos, I think I was so close to buying the S1 as a pre-order, but then I was like, wait a second. When we're talking about the Bambu X1C, and let's pull that up, and the Bambu X1C, oh, come on there, X1C, flagship, X1 Carbon, that is $1,449, and that comes with, as we can see here, that comes with an AMS, with a multi-material system that you could print 4 different colors, 4 different materials, so on and so forth, even though your build plate is 256 cubed. But still, you're looking at $1,450 compared to, what do we end up seeing? $1,500 here. And yeah, you've got a filament dry box. Yeah, it goes fast, but again, there seems to be some problems with how prints are coming out with the FLSUN in some instances. And compared to the Bambu X1C, which it prints slower, but you're gonna get better prints, and you're not gonna have to print them 2 or 3 or 4 times. And so there's people that have talked about the FLSUN where the problem is that after a bunch of tweaking and whatever, they can print the thing that they want, but it takes 2 or 3 times to print the same thing out. That this thing, you just need to print it once. So yeah, even just by itself, we're talking $1,200. Yeah, the build area is smaller, but yeah, and the multi-material system. So what I end up seeing with the FLSUN and some other printers is that the FLSUN is, for me, it's not going to be something I want. Now, I'm a hobbyist. I currently print out resin miniatures like this dude here, and I print them out and paint them and stuff like that, and so that's kind of cool. But I want to get into FDM printing and do some more stuff. But I don't want to tweak with a machine. I don't want to tweak profiles. I want to do a minimal amount of tweaking to the machine and or the code. I mean, good Lord, I don't want to code anything. I don't want to get into the G code. I don't want to be a clipper master, tinker, whatever. And that's fine if that's what you do. But for me personally, I don't want to do that. So things like Prusa's, where it's set it, forget it, and go, that's more appealing to me. Now, maybe not for some other people, and that's totally okay. But I think for FLSUN to be a competitor against Bambu and Prusa and some other companies, they're really going to have to get their software side of the house squared away and get somebody or a team of somebodies that are smart on the software that can work through these issues of getting the dimensional accuracy, of really fine-tuning the profiles for different materials and filaments and colors and so on and so forth. I think that needs to be a huge place where FLSUN needs to spend money. Forget the proprietary slicer, just use Orca, boom, leave and just do profiles. That way you don't have to waste money on doing, just cut this and use Orca and boom, just make stuff for Orca, the profiles. So yeah, and the fact that, the multi-material system seems to be the killer. So even though Bambu has a smaller build area, the AMS system is really getting to the point in the price, for $1,450, you can get a Bambu X1C, print multiple things. Yeah, you're going to be limited to 20,000 millimeters per second acceleration, but they're not going to have, let's see, what do they end up here? Let's take a look at this. So again, we're looking at the Bambu X1C, Core XY, up to 16 color printing, auto bed leveling, LiDAR resolutions, AI, all that stuff, Core XY, 32 millimeters cubed per second flow, acceleration, velocity, and so on and so forth. So we're looking at 16-minute benchies that come out really good versus the FLSUN, which can print out a benchie in 8 minutes. So yeah, while the FLSUN can do things faster with a benchie, if you're going to be doing parts that you need better quality, you're going to have to ratchet back all of that. And yeah, now that we have aftermarket parts for, you know, Bambu and heads and this and nozzles or whatever, there's a lot of things that you can end up doing to really get the most bang for your buck. But you're getting a huge bang for your buck with the Bambu. Auto bed leveling, detecting first layers, spaghetti detection, okay. But yeah, that bed leveling is going to be, that's the thing that's lacking. But, you know, for that price, and the replacement cost for items is not that bad when we're talking about the Bambu X1C. So, you know, the hot ends and so on and so forth, it just ends up that they've got a good supply system. Customer support, for the most part, seems to be really good from what I've seen online. So yeah, it's really good. But the build area is what I'm really focusing on, because I want a larger build area, and my whole thing is buy once, cry once. And interestingly enough, Bambu actually came out in I don't know, a talk that they did and some Q&As, in that they are developing one of the two, a printer with a larger build area, and or at the same time a larger build area with a multi-head system like the Prusa XL. And of course, you know, there's obviously going to be an AMS system. I would assume that. I would bet a paycheck on that. So that will really bring them into their own. And with the quality that we have with Bambu and their profiles, and, you know, set it and forget it, set it up, boom, and you can start printing and get good quality prints consistently without having to tune a lot of crap like you would with other machines. Yeah, there's any company that goes against Bambu or Prusa has really got to bring their A game. And in other words, hardware is one thing, but it's those that can integrate and have good software integration with that hardware. Those are the ones, combined with customer service and so on and so forth, those are the ones that are going to be the leaders of the pack, and at a discounted price. So Bambu has actually said that they're looking at, and we'll see it this year, a larger build area printer, so which would be awesome. You know, if we're talking like 350, maybe even I would say 350 or 400 is kind of my guess, between that and, you know, really big build area systems. You know, I think that would be the thing to look at. Because if you could have a machine that prints like the X1C and has a 350 cube build area and be cheaper than FLSUN, boom, that's a done deal right there. And if they could do a multi-material head system or multi-head system that is cheaper than the Prusa XL, boom, they're going to corner the market on a lot. And I think that's what they're going to end up doing. And they've got their processes down. The quality is good on their prints, and the hardware side of the house, their software side of the house is good. And that's what they're going to be coming out with. So we should be hearing something out this year. And I read it and I forgot to save it, unfortunately, but it was talking about the third quarter or fourth quarter of this year. Earliest third quarter, we'll get some information on a larger build area Bambu X1C on steroids machine. And if that's the case, I mean, I'm so tempted to buy the X1C right now with the AMS for, you know, $1,450, which is still an outstanding deal. And even then, if you look at their other printers, like their P1 series, the P1S, which is an enclosed system. Let's take a look at this. Look at that. It went down. It was $950 basically. Now it went down $100. And if you're with a multi-material system, that's the combo. By itself, it's what, $600. That's incredible. So Again, we're looking at a little bit slower benching time of 18 minutes compared to like the 16 minutes on the Bambu X1C, but still, it's unless you're really, really pinching pennies and you're really, really concerned about, putting out parts and doing side gigs and stuff like that. I mean, even then, the P1S is a great machine for that. There's people that have print farms with P1Ss and X1 carbons. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with. Is it going to go back? Yes, it goes back. And this is 2022. So I think the next big step is for Bambu Labs, like they said, is to come out with that large build area printer. And if it's just an extra large version of the X1C with great profiles and the whole 9 yards, and especially if they can keep that bed leveling and have a level bed, maybe a little bit of a thicker bed, and some more reinforced motors, closed loop motors on those things. This will be a huge Core XY. I mean, it will be an awesome printer. And I base this off of their past performance with the P1P and the P1S and, of course, the X1C. So, yeah, I'm definitely I'm glad I waited and I didn't pull the trigger on the S1 by FLSUN. It was so tempting. I was just like, you know what, this is gonna be good. The stats are great. They put out all those little 30 or 1 minute videos or whatever, and it's like wow. But now we're really getting into the daily driver. People doing testing and finding out and saying, hey, yeah, dimensional accuracy, it's not there. Yeah, it's a software thing and it can be fixed with a firmware update, but that should have been done before the S1 was released. And the fact that it just operates off of one roll, you have a dryer box, that's cool, great, it's enclosed, that's definitely great. But I think FLSUN is late to the party with the S1 because now there's so many companies that are doing the multi-material systems, the AMSs or the Creality CFS or whatever. I think they're a little bit late to the party. Now, if they had a machine that was like the T1 and then have an AMS system that could go on the S1 or the T1 and get their software side of the house, up to par, then they would be a serious contender. So it remains to be seen on how this will work out. But for me, I think right now the FLSUN S1 or the T1 is going to be something I'm going to have to kind of hold off on until we find out what happens. And I'm definitely going to wait on getting a printer in hopes of a larger build area by Bambu. But then there's always this next one in the printers that they have. You look at the A1, 339. That is insane. And you get a 256 build area. Let's see, where is it? Store. Yeah, the A1 Mini. That's A1. Yeah, $339, $340. And if you have an AMS combo, it's $489. That's entirely doable. And a build area of 256 by 256, auto calibration, easy quick swap. And if you even just buy the machine by itself, it's $339. But if you're going to get one, I mean, just bite the bullet and get the multicolor printing version. What do we see on this? Yeah, 256 cube build area, multicolor printing. Active flow rate compensation, auto calibration, quick swap nozzle, active motor noise canceling, which is very important. I think that's something, because it used to be the 3D printing was something you did in the garage or in the basement. Now you could have this in your desk next to you, and the sound levels, especially with an enclosed system, or even this system here is just incredible. So, yeah, 256, and Max speed of tool head, 500 millimeters per second. Max acceleration, 10 meters per second squared. Camera monitoring, blah, 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 all of that stuff. But that, I mean, that is an awesome looking system. So would I get, so again, I'm right at the point where I'm betwixt between the two. Do I wait for Bambu to come out with as much as I want a printer? Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Now, like I said in previous videos, that I never buy something brand new right out of the box. You know, I wait for it to come on the market for a while, whether it's cars, whether it's guns, ammo, whatever. I always wait and let other people be the beta testers, and then I'll jump in if it ends up being good, and usually the prices come down. You know, but with the Bambu and the large build plate machine that they're rumored to come out with this year, or at least make an announcement third or fourth quarter, yeah, I think I'm going to hold off for that. And the reason I'm holding off for that is because, yeah, I'm in an apartment, I have a spare bedroom, I want to buy once, cry once, and that'll be it. So even if Bambu comes out with say a 350 by 350 build area, just kind of like a X1C on steroids, and they put that on the market for $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. I would be willing to spend $1,600, $1,700 for that if it performed as well as the X1C and had the multi-material printing system on there. That would be a no-brainer for me. Obviously, they're going to try to cut it down to get below, but yeah, there's rumors that it's going to be below, and it's going to be affordable, and it's going to be big. And if the quality is just like the X1C, man, it's going to be, they're going to keep them on the top of the 3D printing market. At least when it comes to FDM printing. So there's other printers out there like Creality and things like that. I've talked about Creality and their K2 Plus, which is coming out, but I find it problematic because of the past history of Creality and their advertising of their K1C, which promised an all-metal extruder when in fact the people that reviewed the K1C that Creality actually sent free machines to, they took it apart and said, hey, this isn't all-metal extruder, it's like 95% plastic or more. Yeah, it just seems kind of problematic that you're making this claim of 1,000 clog-free hours based on the advertising of all metal extruder, and it ends up it's pretty much all plastic. That questions the integrity of the company, and it was only until the reviewers that they sent machines to that made us think about this that they changed the information on their website. And as I was perusing through Amazon, I found out that they still advertised on Amazon that it was an all-metal extruder with the pictures, the whole 9 yards, making those all-metal extruder claims. And I was like, yeah, that's not right. So I made a video and I sent it to them and said, hey, here's, how many hours are we really going to get out of an all-plastic, extruder? And matter of fact, let's go and I know we're kind of rambling now. Let's see. Creality K1C. Okay, let's check this out. Oh, don't want to do that. And here we go. So, we're going to K1C. Boom, there it is. From Creality, because I was seriously thinking about getting this. And again, what do we see here? Yeah, I know we can get it cheaper. Tri-metal nozzle, auto leveling, all metal direct extruder. It's not. It is not all metal. And they still have it advertised as such. Let's see if they show the picture of it. Minimal creep. K1C, yeah, that's the right one. Yeah, there it is again. All metal hot end extruder for advanced materials, blah, blah, blah. But it's not all metal extruder. It actually ends up it's not. So clog free all metal extruder. That's what we end up seeing there, folks. It's still, they still have it, clog free all metal extruder. All metal extruder. They haven't changed it on the Amazon page. That is problematic. You know, clog free extrusion, all metal extruder right there, and it's not. Oh, that just bugs me. And then, so let's go to Creality K1C and the Creality K1C. We'll look on the website here and see what it actually says. I think we need to up this up a little bit. So it talks about clog-free, blah, blah, blah. Clog-free extruder kit with quick swap nozzle. Here is where they changed it on their website. So now it says, look at that right there, robust extruder, enhanced reliability, 1,000 hours clog-free extrusion. Now they changed the graphic, and the other graphic it showed like another view, but it made it look like all the gears and everything were all metal. But actually what you end up seeing is YouTubers that they sent the machines out to actually showed that these gears here are plastic, that gear there is plastic, that's plastic, that's plastic, and then on the other side it's all the gears are plastic. So while you might have these two things being metal, yeah, they changed this and they didn't even do spell checks. So yeah, that's why I just can't, I just don't have a warm fuzzy with Creality when it comes to their claims, because yeah, they ended up, you know, when you say that, oh, it's an all metal extruder, or, you know, we'll just leave this up here for grins and giggles. But yeah, when you advertise all metal and then on your own website it ends up that it's mostly plastic by the reviewers that you sent the machine to, yeah, and never given an example or an excuse or an explanation as to why you advertise it as all metal and what testing you did to come to 1,000 hours of clog-free extrusion, and then suddenly you change it on your website, but you leave it on the Amazon page. Your Amazon page as still being an all metal extruder. Yeah, that's just problematic. And the people that bought the machines, man, that gets up my nose. You know, you didn't send a letter, you didn't see an email or text or anything saying, hey, we hope, you know, the all metal that we were talking about was this, but we understand that these and the gears and this are plastic or whatever. They didn't do that. They just kind of like, let's just push this to the side, and we won't, those are the things we won't talk about, you know, kind of like your drunk uncle. We're not going to talk about him, you know, or, you know, being diddled by the priest when you're young. We're just not going to talk about that. That's just not something we talk about anymore. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting things are coming into the market. And I think it's getting to a place of where the public are finding out that if you make and advertise claims, you better live up to those claims. And so when we see things like, you know, the FLSUN S1 and the high-speed claims and the flow rate of 110, they haven't really got up to 110. And matter of fact, the guy that I showed you his video, he couldn't get it up to 110 flow rate. So in a very specific test, it would do 110, but you wouldn't get good quality, and you wouldn't get, you see what I'm saying? It's at the expense of something. You know, you can get a good, fast, and cheap. You can't get all three. It's just not going to happen. And the same thing that we see in the 3D printing world as well. So yeah, it's just kind of problematic in what we end up seeing. So yeah, I'm holding out for Bambu to come out with that large build area printer and or multi-print head machine, and then I will buy once, cry once. and based off the past performance of Bambu, or if Prusa comes out with a lower priced machine, that is possible as well. Excuse me, but oh good Lord, what did I do? I went on to Prusa and it's like something. Can't print. Prusa 3D printers, and their XL, where is it? Their XL just by itself with one print head is monumentally expensive. And yeah, I know I'm rambling now, folks, but so this is the XL, which has a large build area, 36 by cubes, which is 14 by 14 by 14, which is really good. But when you get one tool head, it's semi-assembled, no enclosure kit, so let's throw an enclosure kit. That's another $520 on here. And even with just one head on there, you're looking at $2,500. So let's say you do two heads, that's another $400. So you're talking, basically $3,000 to get a two head system with an enclosure, and they're just kind of pricing. I think, is it a good system? I don't know. It's very questionable because I've seen so many videos on this and the problems. But this is the first time I've seen the enclosure kit bundle offered. I think Bambu can, assembled at another $470. You're looking almost $3,500 there. That is crazy insane. And I think that's what's going to happen is Bambu's going to come into the market and they're going to come in. They're going to say, hey, you remember the size of the Prusa XL? How would you like to get that size? And how would you like to have a single head or even a multi-head system for way less than what you can get with Prusa? Yeah, I think that's what it's going to come down to, is those who can bring about the most complete system for hardware and software and price with a good balance of speed, quality, and customer service. And those are going to be the ones to beat. They're going to be the Apple of the 3D printing world, or the Android of the 3D printing world, depending. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Again, I know this is a long video, but I just want to go over this information and get your thoughts on it. Are you into 3D printing? What would you look for? What are your concerns? Is it going to be, are you more concerned about speed tests and things like that and getting the ultimate performance? Or are you just like a hobbyist and you just want to set something in there and print it and boom, have it come out? Or are you doing a side gig and you have to do multiple parts and you just want that continued quality each and every time that you fill up the build plate? Put that in the comment section down below. I'd really like to hear that as well. And your recommendations, because I don't even have an FDM printer yet. I have a resin printer and I have electronics background, so I kind of know what I'm talking about in that regard. But yeah, I would always love to hear some more information about your experiences, and especially if your experience and knowledge is better than mine, which a lot of people are. I would really love to hear that, so put that in the comment section down below as well. Oh, and also one last thing, please like and subscribe to the video, the channel, the share, the appease the YouTube algorithm god, because I would really like to get more subs and views and all of that stuff. And I don't know, it's just something I do since I'm retired. I'm not even monetized yet. But that, eventually maybe that would be fun to do. But I'd like to get more people to see the videos and see and do that route. Something to do as I'm retired. All right, so that's going to be it. We'll see you on the next video. Take care. Don't forget to comment. Peace. Yeah, waiting for Bambu.